This here is going to be a video of the various different projects I'm working on. This first project is called Hexy the Hexapod. It's a robot that's available online for $2.99. It runs 19 different servos. One also goes into this head, which actually has two different features. One, it looks like a head, so they designed it to where it will actually kind of resemble a head. But this is also a distance module, where it'll send out ultrasonic pings, and when it bounces back, it'll let it know that it can't go any farther, which you can hook it up to the board, which is the board here, and you can actually make it run on its own. And the board is going to be powered by this 4-pack of AA batteries. This will provide enough power for the logic board, and these ones here will operate all the servos, which you can't use these regular alkaline batteries. They won't have enough power to actually make the servos work the right way. It'll be fine with the board, but not for the servos. And it mainly will just plug up with a basic USB cable, which you got here. But if you have a computer or a laptop that'll actually run it, you can make it run Bluetooth. And this will just plug right into the back of it here, and certain lights will come on, and then you'll be able to control Hexy wirelessly. But once this thing is fully up and running, it'll do belly flops, dance, waves. It'll pretty much do everything. But the problem with this one here was, this is the original board. When it came to me, it was fried. So I had to spend another $40 to fix them, and as soon as the board comes in, then I'll be able to get it up and running. And on to the next project. This here is the electric skateboard. One of my previous videos, I had it hooked up to a motor and a tape belt just to see how fast it would go, because this motor, which was the original motor that I used, was made to run off of AC current, where I had been using it for DC current. So I'm hoping this will still work, but I wanted to make sure that I would have enough voltage in DC to make sure it would run for AC. But where I built this bracket, it is incredibly hard to find belts that I need for it. So I'm actually going to be taking this end here off, taking this here back off, and I'm going to be adding chain and sprockets to it. Chain, gear, sprockets. And then I'm going to be drilling a hole about right in here to run the cable. And I'll be attaching the motor here instead of back here as where I originally had it. And then it'll run a cable all the way up to a control unit that'll be into my arm. It'll have just basic controls on the forehand, and all the electronics will be on a forearm part. And it'll be ran with flexible conduit, so that way if I would happen to fall or something like that, it won't rip out the wiring on the motor or anything like that. Still waiting for the chain and stuff, so that way I can test it. Once I make sure that the motor and the gears and everything will work on it, then I'll begin fabricating the circuit board and the controls for the arm. And then once I get that done, then we'll be able to test it on road conditions, and we'll see how that works. And let's go to another one. For this project, this one I've kind of really had fun doing. It's not completely ready yet, but it'll be awesome. This here is a basic night vision security camera. It has the different infrared LEDs all around it, so that way whenever you try to use it for night vision, you won't be able to see any lights or anything coming off of it, so it'll make you very, very undetectable. I've got it put in this conduit box here, where I've got it wired to a set of first-person goggles, which these were relatively cheap, $40, maybe $60. Got them on eBay. Paid $90 for this camera, and when I wired them together and hooked it up to a 9-volt battery, I just got myself a whole night vision goggle setup for, say, $150 at max, which you can get a whole system online for about $300, a good one. What I like about this one here is it'll automatically switch from daylight to night. So if you're using night vision and someone turns on the light, it won't hurt your eyes, it just immediately switches to color. The only problem with this one is you got very little range with the infrared lights, so I actually have to build an infrared LED module to put along the top and bottom here, so that way I can get more light out of it. Which, that's only part one of this one. It's actually going to be going into this. This is a basic bicycle helmet that I've found in my basement. This is actually a multi-project. As you can see, I've got a control knob here and a light and a basic switch, circuit board, and there is a microphone here. By the time I'm done with this project, it'll have higher audio capabilities, which the audio part's already done. You'll just hook a basic headphone into the back of it, run wires into it, and it'll wire it directly into it. Here you can see a microphone here, and there is another one there. That's going to be the actual microphones for this piece here. There's also going to be a audio amp on the other side here, or not an audio, but a voice amp. That'll disguise the voice, make yours louder, however you would choose. So I'm going to have those, and then I'm going to mount this onto the top of it. So then that way, I can have myself a set of night vision goggles attached to this helmet. And then that's not going to be all. I'm going to actually put a couple high intensity LEDs arrays, one on this side, one on this side. So this helmet will be night vision, ultrasound, voice amplification, and headlights. This project will do quite a bit when I'm done with it. And then once I get that prototype up and running, then I'm going to convert it all and put it onto this helmet. Maybe even make a different one. But with this one here, I'm actually going to add a air system to it too, because it can get kind of stuffy in these helmets that's all closed off. Which I already built a original setup for an air system, but I'm going to redesign it and put it on there. And let's look at another project. And here we have one of the newer generation Xbox 360s. This one here has a CD drive error issue. So I have to take this whole thing apart and replace the CD drive in it. But it's not going to be as simple as just switching out the drives. You actually have to take a board off of it and resolder it to the new one, which I will show you all how to do that. And on to the next video. Quick upload on a new project getting ready to start. It's going to be anonymous unknown right now, but it's going to be something that's built right around $10. I guess some 3/4 inch pipe, copper fitting, some tapping screws, gear clamp, caulking gun, and some tiki wicks. Remember, all under $10, and this is going to be fun. This project, if you've seen any of my previous videos, I called it the L.T.S, the laser target system. Had a couple basic LEDs for the inside. See if it still has power. Yeah, basic power on, high intensity LEDs, and laser with internal LEDs. This one here is real bulky, and you got this big handheld piece, and not something that's really all that fascinating. So for the new project, I'm going to be making a more streamlined version of it, but it's going to actually feature 3 laser diodes, probably going to be red also, Still have the high intensity LEDs, but we're going to lose this handheld trigger part. And since I'm not really totally redesigning it, I'm just calling it the L.T.S. Version 1.5. And once I get it up and running, I'll show another video of it. Let's go on to another project. And here we're back on the mower rebuild that I was doing. As you can see, I've already cut out the opening area for the bigger battery so I can save some money that way. It's all been re-pressed and re-hammered back out. I ran out of paint, but it's all been kind of sanded down, smoothed out, and repainted. Black layer first and then blue over here. As you can see with the hood, it's kind of part way done. The main footrest and the front of it, it's already done, and blue and everything. So the painting is almost done. And the motor's been pressure washed off. All the oil and dirt and everything's already out of it, so now I just have to take off the rims and tires and repaint the whole frame. I still have to get the pieces for the engine to make sure it's fully functional. I still have to repair the seat or get a new one. And then once I make sure that all that works, I'll put the motor back together, make sure everything works before I actually tear into the transmission. Because if the engine doesn't work, I don't want to waste all that time and then, oh, it doesn't work. So once I figure out the engine is remounted and works, then I'll take out the transmission and go from there. Add smaller gears with fewer teeth, so that way I get more torque and get more speed. Alright, and for the final part of this video, this here is the piece of a project that's actually going to be featured in a couple different ones in the future. As you can see, it's not together or anything yet. It's just kind of laid out until I get the chance to weld it. This is actually going to be the top piece of a gauntlet. And then I'll be making another piece for the bottom section, but it's actually going to be moved like open and closed with 4 different servos, and it's going to be ran off of a basic controller, and that's actually going to give me the means of doing some more projects. Like I intend to do a small electrokinetic device on it, build another one with a bunch of different type of sensors on it, and the biggest one will probably be adding a flamethrower to it. But it's going to be a while before that one's up and running, so I got to figure out all the programming and stuff to actually make it work, and then we'll go over to this project. This one was featured in a couple different videos. I kind of fell off of it for a while, so I didn't really do too much work on it yet. But previous videos, propeller, motor, everything's already done on this quadcopter. But I still have the various brackets I was going to make to put underneath of it here for landing feet. But I still didn't get a chance to do it yet. But for that project, I still have to finish the last motor, make the controls for it, and then make the control board, and then make the controller for it. And then once I do that, that'll be a wired system. And then once I get that finished, then I'll be able to take what I learned from this prototype and put it into a wireless system. And then let's get to the final piece. And for the final one, something I got bored and decided to make back in the last winter. Potato gun. Made out of basic PVC pipe with an adjustable handle. So that way it could work for people of different sizes. Basic igniter. This one worked for probably about an hour. And then the igniter shot. So I have to replace the igniter on it. I would like to shorten the combustion chamber, because so I can get more power so it would go farther. And I have a hard problem with the end where I spray painted it. It's really hard to twist open, so I need to replace that, and I'm going to make that permanent, and I need to add a bolt in between it, so that way it'll stop the ammo from falling into the combustion chamber. But this one here was just ran off a basic hairspray. That's not going to work, so I'm actually going to add a small propane tank, a shutoff valve, and flex line, and run it straight to the back of that. So then that way it'll get more combustion and get more power, so that way the object will go a lot farther. And once I finish all of these videos, all these projects, then I will start some other ones, because I've got a lot more things, from lasers to LEDs to ferrofluid, sonics, even Tesla coils eventually. As soon as I get all those done, then I can get into the better and more exciting things. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see updates on these.